Let's head back to the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
Hi, Dave. Great show. Howard from Marin County. I'm shell-shocked from what I just saw. So a couple points. I think the defense is terrible against great quarterbacks, and CJ is a great quarterback. Miles was missing in action. I think Jim Schwartz's stock has crashed, and I doubt he's going to get a head coaching job. The offensive line needs a complete redo, and the Browns are old. When you think about it, the O-line's old, Cooper's old, the defensive line acquisitions are old. I think the Browns lost the trade to Houston for Deshaun Watson. They definitely need better drafts, and I think the Super Bowl window has closed. I think Houston is the future. I think they will compete against Kansas City and Baltimore or other teams to win. So that's the wrap-up from here. Great show. Wait till next year. Take care. Bye.
As always, appreciate all the voicemails. Scott, I understand it. I disagree with that. I would ask you, has Dan Quinn's stock crashed? I mean, the Cowboys looked just as bad, if not worse, defensively, and Dan Quinn's going to be interviewing for every head coaching opening that's out there. Jim Schwartz wasn't going to get a whole lot of coaching interviews for head coach. He may still get one or two, but he's not the new, young, shiny coordinator that everybody wants to hire, and he's not Bill Belichick or Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, that's a pretty bleak view that the caller had there. Jim Schwartz, I mean, he had a great year, and he's a big-time defensive coordinator. The Browns are thrilled to have him. First of all, it's not fair, like I've said a million times, to just base it on one game. You're right, Dan Quinn is a perfect example of that. Now, Dan Quinn, I don't know if he's younger than Schwartz. Schwartz is only like 57 or 58, but I think Quinn's younger. Quinn also went to a Super Bowl and probably should have won that Super Bowl as a head coach in Atlanta. Right, Schwartz went to one playoff appearance during his head coaching tenure in Detroit. So I think Quinn's got a better resume. You know, he's been in Dallas. They've won a bunch in Dallas. So I think that's this discrepancy there. I never really expected Schwartz to get a bunch of calls to be a head coach because you're right, he's not the new young thing, and that's where a lot of these go. But I don't think that changed because of Saturday. I mean, there was a whole week where guys were interviewing around the league, and you did not hear his name come up at all. I think that's interesting. And, he points to the offensive line. We talked about the tackles, right? Like, I think the three interior guys, they're really good. And, Joe Bitonio's getting old of that group. He's 32, I want to say. Beat up this year, but he's still playing at a really high level. Why Teller's still young enough. Either Posick is still young enough. So if you get those tackles back, and Jed Wills is young, and DeJuan Jones was a rookie this year. So there needs to be, they're going to have to figure out the defensive line because there's a lot of free agents. Some of those guys are getting older, certainly. But, I don't feel like this team, I don't think the Super Bowl window's closed. I think as long as Deshaun Watson plays, if he plays well, the Super Bowl window's open, or whoever plays quarterback. And one last thing. Yes, Houston looks like they're going to be good. D'Amico Ryans is a really likable guy. He's done a great job as a rookie coach. Same thing with C.J. Stroud. But people thought Jacksonville was the hot thing last year, right? And they fell apart this year. So this league is so volatile that I hate to, after one season, really make judgments on teams or people.
Yeah, relative to the Browns being old, a lot of that experience and the age came from the one-year contracts. They're gonna go out and do that again if they can, because that's what teams that think they're in the Super Bowl window do. But again, I would just let's see what they do relative to the roster in the offseason.